being said, I see an incredible goddess that is ready to talk to us today that I love and adore. So let's just do a shout out. Yay, 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 TV. Yay, yay, yay. You too can reach hundreds of millions. You might be able to cut back on some of your social posting, some of your marketing. Awesome. Awesome. Hello, Tamara. How are you today?
Hello, Dr. Deb Drummond.
Okay, so let me introduce you properly. This is Dr. Tamara, and she is known globally as the Divine Disruptor. Woohoo! Divine Disruptor. There she is. Okay, she received the 2024 Presidential Achievement Award. Hello. We were talking about media earlier. That is incredible. The topic that she's going to share with us today is about say yes only if you mean it and the courageous shift to your real self. You may not know, she loves to dance. Not likes to dance, she loves to dance. And who she's gigging to right now? Stevie Wonder. Woohoo, Stevie. Now she's got some pretty sweet gifts for us. And for everybody, you are going to get a clarity compass for women that tend to or are feeling that overwhelmed that we've heard people talk about that are talking about health and wellness. Like, how do you know it's even happening? Right? I love that. How do you even know it's happening? And then, of course, she's going to give a say yes private consult and a courage journal. Spend some time with her privately. So, girlfriend, go ahead, take the stage. I know you know how to do that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hello, my sisters out there, and happy International Women's Day. Oh, this is so cool to be a part of something this fantastic. As we celebrate our progress, all the progress in this country, and I'm sure all the countries that are represented here, we all know what the women's struggles have been, and we all know we still have a long way to go. I love what Deb said the other day. We've come far, but we still have a long way to go, baby. So I want to address the invisible commission. The invisible commission is so many of us are paying the price for in our mental health because we're striving and we're running and we're pushing, and it's because of our professional success, but then our mental well-being gets damaged. So I'm Dr. Tamara White, and I empower high impact leaders to disrupt the burnout cycle so they can lead with unstoppable authority. I know today we have heard this in so many different ways, but you haven't heard it from me. So I want you to lean in, just lean in a little bit closer to the computer, lean in a little bit closer to the microphone or the speakers so that you can hear what I have to say. And then at the end of the day, you can put all this together and there should be no excuse for being overwhelmed and stressed because you've had all of this good stuff. So as we move along, and I forgot to set my timer. Somebody will tell me. We often wear a mask of the word yes, right? Because we just heard that from Stacy about saying yes, because sometimes we believe that it proves our worth. You know, if I say yes, they'll like me. If I say yes, that won't cause trouble at home. If I say yes to the kids knowing that they shouldn't be doing something, then I don't have to get into a fight with my teenage son. You know, we've all been there, or we are there right now. But today I want to prepare you to break the rules. Is anybody ready to break some rules for your own good? Yes. Put a 1 in the chat. Break those rules. We're going to break some rules right now because I'm going to give you full permission. You can go back and say, Dr. Tamara, the Divine Disruptor, said that I can break some rules for my own benefit and for my own behalf because I'm not going to hurt anybody. And so when we say yes, it isn't always coming from a place of peace. It's a counterfeit. Do you want to be a counterfeit? We all know about counterfeit money, but there's a lot of counterfeit friendships. I want you to examine your life. There's a lot of a lot of different counterfeit pieces, not just money. It could be relationships. You could be a counterfeit on your job, really. And we don't want to live like that. I call that spoiled milk. And my work is like spoiled milk. It's like when you have stayed far too long in a situation. You stay far too long, your commitments, you're overdrawn in your commitments because you keep saying yes when you really need to say no. And so my title, as Deb said, is to say yes only if you mean it. We heard Stacy talk about that, but I want to give you permission also to say yes only if you mean it. And then the courageous shift to be able to say no, because that's going to be your real self. Come on, ladies. We want to be our real selves. We want to walk with authority. We want to walk in confidence. We want to walk as courageous women. We don't want to be doormats and we don't want to be liars to ourselves. We want to live authentically. So many of us are functioning as a support system for everyone else's empire except our own. We're working to help somebody else build their thing. We are stepping aside of our dreams and then helping our sister or a husband or whatever. And now what is it's March 7th. Where are your goals for this year? Because we have been living as a counterfeit because we don't spend time on our stuff. We're giving ourselves away. There was a song one time that talked about giving ourselves away. So we're not being able to function in our God given purpose because we're slipping away. We've been taught that the highest calling is to say yes and to be a helper. We've got to always help. That's our highest calling, especially for women. We already know that women are nurturers and we're helpers, but to whose destruction is that? Your mental health, your sanctity, your rest, your well-being. We've heard on the panel about the prescription drugs are very high just to go to sleep and to wake up, to move throughout the day. So I want you to just lean in and just examine yourself. Where are you? And then organizations that we're affiliated with, they will run you into the ground too, unless you put that no sign up. So organizations and high-level clients, they just want you to help. They don't really want you to be a part of the transformation. Have you ever been a part of something where you felt like you were used? I know I have. They wanted all of my good thinking up here. We're all smart women. They wanted our ideas. And then you got the pink slip. Or then you didn't know that you were training your replacement. Or you didn't know because you disagreed with your supervisor that, oh my goodness, you're getting kicked out. So we don't want that. Organizations will use you up, and that leads to the burnout that we're experiencing. In addition to being a burnout strategist, I also am a licensed counselor. And so I'm seeing the same thing in the therapy world that I see in the coaching world, that women are truly, truly in the burnout cycle right now because we are trying to make it happen to our own dismay. And I'm here to tell you that you don't have to, that we can learn how to say, no, thumbs down. And then we only say yes when we really want to. So take note of that. So it's time to stop assisting. It's time to get back into our leading. As we've learned, if you can't do it, just say no. You don't owe anyone an apology or explanation because we know that they want to talk you out of it, as we've already heard. But this is what's going to save you. Just this little tip, this little strategy of not feeling embarrassed about it, of getting out of the help mode where everybody needs your help. And then you've got stuff you need to do and you don't get to it for 2 or 3 days. That is not what we want, ladies. We want to be free. This is Women's International Month, Women's History Month, but Women's International Weekend. So we want to be free. And we are positioning ourselves in this summit to be free. So if something has been crawling on your back, it's time to let it go. If this is one of the things that's been a part of your problem, let it go. I also teach my clients how to interact with their loved ones because the loved ones usually are the place where it really becomes a real dynamite, a lot like a mine land type of thing, bombs going off all the time, just to use that antidote, because people know that you're the one that can get it done. And I'm going to call Carol, I'm going to call Liz because they're going to get it done. I'm going to call Deb because I know she can juggle all these balls and do my stuff too. And they don't even think about you. They have no consideration for you. But I'm giving you total permission today because I don't want to see you burnt out. That means you're in the hospital sometimes. That means you have withdrawn. And how do I know that you're burnt out? You withdraw. You don't want to participate in daily things. You're very snappy. You're sleepy. You're edgy. You don't eat or you eat too much. You don't drink, but you start drinking. All of those. You don't smoke, but now you're smoking more every day. And you're biting everybody's head off, including all the people that live with you. Then you don't want to get out of bed. Now we're talking about depression and burnout. I don't want to come to your house, lady, to get you out of bed. I really don't want to have to do that. I've worked in those environments where I had to get people up out of bed, off the floor, but I really don't want that to happen for you. So with all this wisdom, we're going to transform into what I call my shift framework. My shift framework is about unmasking and equipping yourself with a new way of dealing with life, dealing with things. And I say shift because it takes a shift. It's like I have to shift over here, and then I need to shift over here because I've got to manage some things for myself. And so the F means slow down with intention. We're just going to slow it down, kind of manage that calendar that Deb has taught us so well how to manage that calendar. And if you need to block out a day, truthfully, a half a day is not good enough. I'm just going to be honest. People say, oh, just block out. No, a half a day is nothing. By the time you sit down with your coffee or your tea or whatever, the half a day is gone. You need at least one full day, minimum. And you shut all of the social media down. You know what to do. You let your kids eat sandwiches. So what if they eat a sandwich for dinner? Whatever. If they eat cereal, so what? They'll be all right. Tell your husband stop and get the food on the way home that you're just taking off that day, and go to your room somewhere. Close the door, put a sign up. When my kids were small, I put a sign up. Do not knock on this door unless you're bleeding. I mean, it just had to get there. You know what I'm saying? All of you had kids. You know how that goes. So we're going to slow down, get the momentum so we can say have an automatic yes when we have our good mental mindset up here, and then give your vision room to breathe, because sometimes it just means you need to step aside to have some breath. And so we're going to honor our needs. Honor our needs is the H. We're going to sit back and honor our needs. You're going to reclaim your mental health and your nervous system because it's all shot right now. And you're going to get professional help if you need to, and that's okay. All of us are professionals on here, and we have clients that are professionals, but we need to reach out when we need to reach out. And somebody's talking about boundaries. Absolutely, boundaries are extremely important. That is one of the number one pillars of my work. So we're going to reclaim that, and we can't pour out of an empty cup. We just can't. So as I'm moving along, the I, identify your internal and your external issues. Internal, what's happening in here? What's happening up here? What's happening in here? Is your heart racing? Do you have acid reflux? What is going on? Let's get that checked out. Get a doctor's visit. And then the external stuff. Are you trying to be a perfectionist? Are you dealing with imposter syndrome? Are you dealing with people pleasing? And sometimes it takes an outside person to point that out. I found that to be true because people don't even realize that you're just in that zone. And so with my clients, I point that out and I'll say, did you know that you're just pleasing everybody? And they said, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And then I regurgitate everything they've said. And they said, oh my God, you're right. So examine that. What's happening on the outside of you? And then the F is for focusing on what really matters. What really matters in your life right now at this very moment? Because as women, we have seasons. We come in a season and we go out of a season. And now there's another season when your kids go off to school, season when your children get married, season when you're empty nester, season as you turn the next decade. These are seasons that we become aware of, and that means that we are ready to say more yeses to ourselves. That's all that means. And we want to block out the noises. And the T is to take aligned action. That means that we're going to put everything together that we say we're going to do for ourselves, and we're going to do it. We have calendars, we've got journals, we've got digital calendars, we've got digital bunch of stuff. And then telling someone. So if you're connected with someone who can hold you accountable, then let's make that happen. Execute with authority that you're going to do it. I'm going to get to the gym. I'm going to tell my neighbor I can't, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tell my best friend that I can only meet once a month. I know that I need to get this project done. Just like all of us on here who are speakers, we knew we had to do this. And so we've been and had our head down because the date is here. So as we're winding up, I know I'm talking fast. We want peace. So when you apply this framework, when you apply these strategies of saying no courageously, I want you to be able to say, I'm going to have a courageous no. Courageous no. It takes courage to say no when you really want to say yes, but you know you really need to say no. But we want to do things with, from not pressure, but we want to do things with precision. That's it. When you think and take a step back, you can be your real you and the authentic you. And when you say yes, you're reclaiming your strategic edge. You're reclaiming the thing that you say that you want to do. Because life right now has tons and tons of distractions. And we've got to be ready to shift those aside to get to the real thing about what we've been created for as women. We're powerful, but we're only as powerful as we allow ourselves to be. So think about that. So for the next 7 days, I want you, this is just a little sidebar, that confidence is not the absence of fear. That's the wrong definition. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the presence of strategic peace. And right now, like you, I'm in a battle of my peace. If you knew what my morning looked like, you would wonder why I'm standing. But I knew that I had this commitment and I had to push through because that's who I am, a courageous woman. So break one rule this week for the next 7 days. Break some rule that you have that's just been stopping you in your tracks, keeping you up at night, and you second guessing yourself, and you know you should have done this. But I want you for the next 7 days to think about that one rule. So if you're ready to change things and you need a little support, then let's talk more. So I'm Dr. Tamara White, and I believe that you were made to flourish, not just function. Happy, happy International Women's Day.
Woo! Ooh, I love that.